Hi guys, this is Alex from Top Tennis Training, and I'm here with Emily Webley-Smith, who's a WTA Tour player, and today we're going to do the video on the 5 steps to the perfect WTA serve. So Emily, despite being not the tallest player on the WTA Tour, you still have a great serve. So what do you think that comes down to?
I think it comes down to good technique, and from a young age I've always had good technique on my serve, and that limits the possibility for it to break down under pressure, and also enables me to create a great deal of power for someone of my height and build, which I think there's no reason everybody, all women, can't do on their serves.
So potentially there shouldn't really be a big difference between the men's and the women's serve. Perhaps just, you know, some power issues if the height, but technically there shouldn't be much difference in
Absolutely.
the serve.
I mean, I think we are able to hit the variety of serves that men do. We should be able to. Obviously, from a strength and power point of view, that's always going to be slightly down. But from a consistency basis and also from a good technique, there's no reason why we can't serve well.
So now Emily's going to show us the 5 steps to that perfect serve. So Emily, get into position number 1. Emily's now holding the chopper grip. She's her body weight's on the front foot and she's ready to serve. So step number 2, here Emily's going to shift back onto her back foot, so the body weight is going to the back foot and she's starting to separate the arms. Now this is her throwing arm is going up, and the playing arm, so the hand holding the racket, is moving back into the back position. So step number 3, this is where Emily's going to completely separate her hands, and now she's going to transfer her body weight forward onto that front left foot. Now this is the step that's the most important. It's the crucial step that most of the WTA players actually fail at, and that's why they sometimes don't have the same kind of serve as the men. And this is due to the left shoulder not being high enough over the right shoulder. Now Emily gets into a great position there where you see that elbow is almost in line with that throwing arm, and it's that trophy position with the left shoulder above the right that's creating a nice stretch here over her side. Her hip is getting inside the court, and now she's able to release upwards and forwards, but also use her body almost like a seesaw. And now she's able to generate power also from her side, not just from her shoulder and from her arm. So together the body is synchronized, so the legs, the side, the arm and the wrist is all going to be used together in order to create the maximum power she can on the ball. So step number 4, here Emily's going to drive up with her legs, and at the same time her racket's going to drop behind the back, so she's going to have that looping shape behind the back, so that lasso action almost around the back as she's driving up. So it's the lasso action and drive up into the shot. So let's see it one more time. So it's back and bam. Now let's take a closer look at the throwing action and the contact on the ball. Now just like using a tennis ball or throwing a heavy object from your hand, you want to use as much shoulder and rotation, and you want to have this arm being quite loose through the throw. You don't want to have a tense arm. So it's that throwing action where the hand actually drops behind the back here, and then the shoulder and the elbow almost comes up first, and then the elbow generates that quick release at the top. So let's have a look at that in action on the serve. Now one of the other crucial parts that we're going to look at is the pronation and the wrist snap on the ball. This is a problem that a lot of players, especially club players, juniors, Actually, all the players in the world, they struggle with this just to get the right connection on the ball. And this will depend on where the ball will travel and whether you're going to hit the ball flat with spin or with slice. And it all depends on that contact on the ball and the pronation that you have on the wrist.
So Alex has just explained about the pronation of the wrist on the serve, and here's an example of why the chopper grip can be so useful in enabling you to hit a variety of serves and a variety of spins. As we come to hit a flat serve, the pronation of the wrist becomes more important. As you come up to the ball, you want to pronate the wrist and make the contact on the ball so that the racket is completely in line.
So it's a flat racket face on the ball, but she's still using her chopper grip. So she's opening up the wrist, almost like high-fiving the ball with her hand, but then the racket face is nice and flat on the contact.
And that can be compared to a slice serve when you would want to come around the outside of the ball with a slightly more closed racket face and hitting the ball at around 2 o'clock if you were to imagine that the ball was a clock face.
So this again will create the ball rotation to be going a little bit more sideways because she's hitting the right side of that ball.
Similarly, on the second serve, if you want to hit kick or topspin, you would come around the opposite side of the ball, and you need more wrist pronation for this particular serve. So as you come up to hit the ball, you're coming brushing up the back of the ball with the wrist pronation coming left to right over the ball.
So it's now hitting the left side of the ball. So there we have it. We have the slice serve, which is the right side of the ball, which is a little bit less pronation. Then we have the flat one, which is medium pronation, and we have the extra pronation if you're trying to get that topspin serve, and the racket face is actually going to be traveling sort of outwards, so up and out, so that you're able to generate that easy topspin that a lot of the pros use. Now, a lot of the WTA players prefer the slice serve and the flat serve compared to the topspin serve. Why does that happen?
I think it's because naturally the women aren't as strong in the wrist to pronate on the kick serve.
Yeah.
Although you will see a few players playing like that, like Stoza or some of the younger girls coming through. But there's also an element that if that serve isn't good enough and it does just sit up from the spin, the women are very aggressive off the second serve return. So it does set you up and get you into trouble if it's not done perfectly. The women prefer to use the slice serve into the body on the second serve to jam the opponent up, and also the flat serve to the first serve, as they seem to find this easier when throwing the racket head at the ball.
Do practice all of those serves, and it doesn't matter whether you're WTA or ATP player, still try and practice the topspin, the slice and the flat serve, because it's that variety and that skill to actually do things with the ball when it's up there. That's what's going to set you apart from the competition. Now, step number 5 is also one of the most crucial steps. Here, Emily will finish onto her left foot, and she will allow her right shoulder to come forward, to come through, allowing her to create that rotation through her trunk, and also it'll help her with her balance. Because she's pushing back with the right leg, she's now able to really involve the body and push her body forward, and again gives her extra power on the ball. So let's see it one more time. And now, after this position, because she's finished the shot there, her front foot, after she's landed, can either continue going forward if she's coming into the net, or it can be a push-off step in order to recover back onto the baseline. So let's have a look at that. And there Emily chose to come forward into the net, and on this one Emily's going to recover back into a more defensive position. So Emily, why do you think you have such a good throwing action? Why do you have such a good serve?
I think from a young age I played a variety of sports, and a lot of them involve throwing, like cricket and rounders, and I actually used to practice throwing a lot, not necessarily for my serve but just for the other sports, and through that transference from those kind of sports I was able to develop a good throw, which also then developed into athletics with javelin. And on my serve I feel very comfortable launching the racket head at the ball from a throwing position. So
being coordinated with your body in order to do the throw will actually help you on your serve. So do practice the throw a lot, and it doesn't matter what you're using. It could be a baseball, it could be a cricket ball, it could be a tennis ball. Anything you can throw will help your serve. Someone like Serena and Venus Williams, that actually made them throw tennis rackets. So if you have an old tennis racket, how best to recreate a tennis serve if to have an old tennis racket that you can launch and you can throw forward, and you can actually see the racket go far, and you're going to be holding it exactly the same way as you would be a normal racket. If you want more tips on how to hit the serve, including the pronation and what happens biomechanically on the serve, we do have a serve course that's available, and you can find that on our website. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. If you did like it, please press the like button. Please share it with your friends. Leave a comment down below if there's something that you struggle on your serve, and do subscribe to the channel. We really value your opinion.